My classmate disappeared right in front of me during chemistry class, and nobody else seemed to notice. It started 3 weeks ago when Jake moved to our school. He was weird from day one, always sitting alone, never eating lunch, and he had this habit of staring at people like he was studying them. But the strangest thing was how teachers would call his name during attendance. Pause for a second, then just mark him present even when his seat was empty. The first time I saw him vanish was during Mr. Peterson's lecture about molecular bonds. Jake was sitting 2 seats ahead of me, taking notes like everyone else. I looked down at my textbook for maybe 5 seconds, and when I looked up, his chair was empty. His notebook was still there, pen still moving across the page by itself. But Jake was gone. I whispered to my friend Sarah sitting next to me, asking where Jake went. She looked at me confused and said, "Who's Jake?" I pointed to his empty seat, and she just stared at me like I was losing my mind. When I looked around the classroom, everyone was acting completely normal, like nothing had happened. This kept happening every few days. Jake would be there one moment, gone the next. But his work would still be getting done. Tests would appear on his desk with his name and perfect scores. His locker would open and close by itself between classes. I started taking pictures of his empty seat, but when I'd look at them later, somehow Jake would be sitting there in the photos. Last week, I decided to follow him after school. I watched him walk toward the old part of town where they tore down the elementary school last year. He walked straight to the empty lot and just stood there for a moment before fading away like morning mist. That's when I remembered the news story from 15 years ago. A student named Jake Morrison died in a fire at that elementary school. I found his yearbook photo online, and it was him, exactly the same age, wearing the same clothes he wore to our school every day. Yesterday, Jake's seat was empty again, but this time his notebook had a message written in it. It said, "Thank you for seeing me," and that he was finally ready to move on. I haven't seen him since, but sometimes I catch other students staring at empty desks with the same confused expression I used to have. 2 days after Jake disappeared for good, I noticed something else in that empty lot where the elementary school used to be. There were more of them. Shadows moving around during daylight. Shapes that didn't match anything casting them. I thought maybe I was just seeing things because of everything that happened with Jake. But then Emma started acting strange. Emma sits in Jake's old seat now. She's been at our school for years, totally normal, but the day after Jake vanished, she began doing the exact same things he used to do. The vacant staring, the not eating lunch, the way teachers would mark her present even when she wasn't there. But Emma was different. She was angry. During English class, I watched her disappear just like Jake used to, but this time I felt this overwhelming sense of dread. The temperature in the room dropped so fast that frost started forming on the windows. Mrs. Chen kept teaching like nothing was wrong, but I could see her breath in the air. Other students started shivering and pulling their jackets tighter, but nobody said anything. That's when I realized Jake hadn't moved on. He'd been replaced. I started researching the fire from 15 years ago more carefully. Turns out Jake Morrison wasn't the only student who died that day. 7 kids never made it out of that burning building. The newspaper said their bodies were never recovered, just like Jake's. And now I'm wondering if Jake appearing at our school was just the beginning. Every week since Jake left, another student in our class starts acting the same way. First Emma, then David, then Melissa. They all sit in different seats but have that same empty stare, that same way of flickering in and out of existence. And I'm the only one who notices. Last night I had a dream about the elementary school fire. I was standing in the hallway watching 7 kids running toward the exit, but the doors wouldn't open. They kept banging on the glass, screaming, but no one could hear them. When I woke up, I found dirt under my fingernails and ash in my hair. Today there are 4 empty desks in chemistry class, but everyone's acting like all the students are still there. This morning I woke up and couldn't remember walking home from school yesterday. I was sitting in my bedroom still wearing my clothes from the day before, but I had no memory of the last 6 hours. When I checked my phone, there were no messages, no missed calls, like time had just stopped. At school, things got worse. During first period, I raised my hand to answer a question, and Mrs. Johnson looked right through me. She called on someone else even though my hand was the only one up. I tried to speak anyway and realized no sound was coming out of my mouth. Then I saw my reflection in the classroom window and nearly screamed. My reflection was flickering, fading in and out just like Jake used to do. But the worst part was seeing who was standing behind me. All 7 of them, the kids from the fire. They were surrounding my desk, reaching toward me with burned hands. I turned around, but the classroom looked normal. Emma, David, Melissa, and the others were all sitting in their seats, but when I looked at the window again, they were standing right behind me too. All of them had the same empty eye sockets, the same charred skin, the same reaching hands. During lunch, I tried to eat, but the food turned to ash in my mouth. I went to the bathroom and splashed water on my face, but when I looked in the mirror, I could see smoke rising from my skin. That's when I understood what Jake's warning really meant. They weren't just replacing students one by one, they were pulling us into the fire that never ended. I ran to the library and found more newspaper articles about the elementary school. There was something the first article didn't mention. The fire wasn't an accident. It was started by a student who felt invisible, ignored, forgotten. He locked the doors from the inside because he wanted everyone to burn with him. Now I know why they chose our school. It's built on the same ground, the same foundation, the same angry earth that's been waiting 15 years for justice. Tonight I'm writing this because I can feel myself fading. My parents didn't notice when I came home. My little sister walked right through me in the hallway. I tried to call for help, but no sound came out. I know time is running out. I know the fire is coming back.